There are very few names in television history that carry the kind of weight that Judy Shineland's does. Say Judge Judy to almost anyone in America, and you'll get an immediate reaction, a laugh, a memory, maybe even an impression of that sharp, no-nonsense voice cutting through someone's excuse before they even finish their sentence. For 25 years, she was a fixture in American living rooms, a daily presence who made courtroom television feel personal, urgent, and endlessly entertaining. She wasn't just a TV judge. She was an institution. But then, almost as dramatically as she had arrived, the show was gone. After 25 seasons, Judge Judy came to an end. Millions of fans were left wondering what had happened to the woman who had become one of the most recognizable faces on daytime television. Had she finally retired? Was she done with the spotlight? Would she spend her days quietly at one of her many homes, far away from cameras and courtrooms? The answer, as anyone who knows Judy Shineland might have guessed, is absolutely not. Not even close. Because Judy didn't slow down. She didn't fade into a comfortable retirement. Instead, she pivoted, she rebuilt, she launched something new, and she did it on her own terms, which, if you followed her career at all, is entirely on brand. So where exactly is Judge Judy now in 2025? What is she doing? What has she built? And what does her life look like today? Let's get into it. All of it. To understand where Judy is now, you have to understand what it meant when Judge Judy ended. This wasn't just a show wrapping up after a decent run. This was a 25-year institution signing off. Judge Judy, at its peak, was pulling in somewhere between 9 and 10 million viewers per day. It was at various points the highest-rated program in all of daytime television, a show that had outlasted countless competitors, survived network politics, and made its host one of the highest-paid personalities on any screen, big or small. When Judy appeared on the Ellen DeGeneres Show in March of 2020 and announced that Judge Judy would be ending after its 25th season, the television world genuinely stopped for a moment. Fans were heartbroken. Industry insiders were surprised. But Judy herself? She had already been thinking several steps ahead. What most people didn't realize at the time was that Judy hadn't simply decided to walk away from television. She had decided to walk away from CBS and towards something she believed would give her more creative control, more ownership, and a future that she could shape on her own terms. The ending of Judge Judy wasn't a retirement announcement. It was the opening move in a carefully planned next chapter. That next chapter came in the form of Judy Justice, a brand new courtroom show that launched on Amazon Freevee in 2021. And the differences between the two shows were intentional and meaningful. Judy Justice wasn't just Judge Judy with a new name. It was Judy's attempt to modernize, to reach a younger audience, and to build something that she had a deeper stake in. The set looked different, the energy felt slightly different, and crucially, the people around her were different too. Most notably, Judy made the decision to bring her granddaughter, Sarah Rose Alinsky, onto the show as a law clerk. This was a deeply personal choice, a way of weaving her family into her professional world, and, in her own words, giving a younger generation a seat at the table. Judy has spoken openly about how much her grandchildren mean to her, and having Sarah Rose on set was clearly something that brought her genuine joy. The show also welcomed a new bailiff, Kevin Rasco, which was a decision that did not go unnoticed or uncriticized. Petrie Hawkins-Byrd, who had stood beside Judy as bailiff on Judge Judy for all 25 seasons, was not invited to join Judy Justice. Judy's explanation at the time was financial. She said she couldn't afford his salary within the new show's budget. But fans weren't entirely satisfied with that answer, and Byrd himself admitted publicly that he was hurt by the way the decision was handled. He had expected at the very minimum a conversation. He didn't get one. The fan backlash was real and vocal. Byrd had become a beloved part of the Judge Judy experience, and his absence from Judy Justice felt like a loss to many longtime viewers. Judy, to her credit, eventually heard that feedback and responded to it. She brought Byrd back, not to Judy Justice itself, but to a spin-off series called Tribunal Justice, where he serves as bailiff alongside Judy's son, Adam Levy, who functions as a co-star. It was a creative solution that allowed Judy to maintain her new direction, while also acknowledging the loyalty of a man who had given a quarter-century to standing beside her in that courtroom. Judy Justice, against the skepticism of some industry observers, turned out to be a genuine success. Moving to a streaming platform like Amazon Freevee was a bold choice for a woman whose entire career had been built in the traditional broadcast television world. Streaming audiences are different. They're younger. They consume content differently, and they don't necessarily have the same appointment viewing habits that define the Judge Judy audience for so many years. But Judy adapted, and the show found its footing. By 2025, Judy Justice has grown into a significant streaming hit, proving that Judy's appeal isn't limited to a particular platform or format. It's rooted in her personality, her wit, and her genuinely remarkable ability to read people and situations with a speed and accuracy that never seems to get old. The format of Judy Justice will feel familiar to anyone who watched Judge Judy. Small claims cases, real disputes, real people, and Judy presiding over all of it with her characteristic combination of sharp humor and moral clarity. But there's a slightly warmer texture to the newer show. Some critics and longtime fans have noted that Judy seems, in certain moments, slightly more relaxed on Judy Justice than she did in the later seasons of Judge Judy, when the grind of producing so many episodes without adequate rest had visibly worn on her patience. Whether that a result of having more control over her environment, the presence of family members on set, or simply the freedom that comes with no longer being locked into a network television machine, the effect is noticeable. Judy is still Judy, sharp, direct, unwilling to tolerate nonsense or evasiveness, but there's something that feels a little more sustainable about the way she operates now. One of the most interesting developments in Judy's recent professional life is the emergence of tribunal justice as a genuine vehicle for her family. The show features a panel format, a structure that Judy first experimented with when she created Hot Bench back in 2014, and it brings together her son Adam Levy and Petrie Hawkins Byrd in a configuration that feels, in some ways, like a peace offering and a family reunion rolled into one. Adam Levy's involvement in the show is a fascinating dimension of Judy's current chapter. Adam followed a path that would have made any mother proud. He became a district attorney in Putnam County, New York, building a serious legal career in the real world before stepping into the television space alongside his mother. His presence on tribunal justice gives the show genuine legal credibility, and his dynamic with Judy, part professional collaboration, part mother-son relationship playing out in front of cameras, adds a warmth and complexity that distinguishes it from typical courtroom programming. For Judy, having her son beside her in this phase of her career is clearly meaningful. She has spoken many times over the years about the importance of family, about the pride she takes in her children and grandchildren, and about how much it matters to her that her legacy extends beyond television ratings and Emmy Awards. The family dimension of her current work feels like a deliberate and heartfelt choice, a way of merging the two things that have always mattered most to her. Byrd's return to the fold via tribunal justice also says something important about Judy's character. She heard the criticism. She acknowledged that something had gone wrong in the way the transition was handled, and she found a path toward making it at least partially right. It may not have been everything Byrd hoped for, and the situation was undeniably handled imperfectly from beginning. But the fact that he's back, that he's working, and that the relationship has been restored to some functional form, that matters. If you only know Judy Shineland through her television work, you're missing a significant part of who she is and what she cares about. Because alongside everything she's doing on screen in 2025, Judy remains deeply committed to her honor mentoring, the program she founded to support young women through education, career development, and professional guidance. The program, which Judy runs alongside her stepdaughter Nicole Shineland, is designed to give young women, particularly those who might not otherwise have access to mentors, networks, or resources, the kind of support that can genuinely change the trajectory of a life. It's a cause that is clearly personal to Judy. She has spoken about how important it was early in her own career to have people who believed in her ability and pushed her to pursue paths that might have seemed out of reach. Away from the cameras in the courtrooms, whether real or televised, Judy Shineland lives what can only be described as a full and rich personal life. She and her husband, Jerry Shineland, the retired judge she divorced in 1990 and remarried in 1991, have been together for decades now, building a blended family that includes children, stepchildren, 13 grandchildren, and even a great-grandchild. Judy has never been particularly private about the fact that family is the center of her world. For all the fire and intensity she projects on screen, the picture that emerges from her interviews and public appearances is of a woman who, at the end of the day, defines herself through her relationships with the people she loves. Jerry, who had his own television career as an arbitrator on the People's Court from 1999 to 2001, has been her constant companion through everything: the lawsuits, the Emmy victories, the contract negotiations, the transitions. Their real estate portfolio gives you some sense of just how expansive Judy's life is. She owns properties in New York, Florida, California, and Wyoming, a collection of homes that speaks to a woman who has always moved between worlds and never been content to stay in one place for too long. The Beverly Hills condo she purchased in 2013 for $10.7 million served as her base during the filming of Judge Judy. The Newport, Rhode Island estate she and Jerry purchased in 2018 for $9 million, a sprawling nearly 10,000 square foot property known as the Birdhouse, set on more than 3.5 acres, represents something different: a place of retreat, of space, and the kind of life you build when you've spent decades earning it. It would be impossible to tell Judy Shineland's story without talking about money. Not because wealth defines her, but because the financial dimensions of her career are genuinely extraordinary. At the peak of her Judge Judy salary, Judy was earning $47 million per year. Then came the 2017 contract extension that pushed her earnings to a staggering $147 million before taxes in a single year. By 2025, Judy Shineland's estimated net worth sits somewhere in the range of $400 to $500 million. She is, by any reasonable measure, one of the wealthiest self-made women in American entertainment history. Judy Shineland has never been someone who shies away from expressing her views, and her political life has always been as independent and unconventional as everything else about her. She is not registered with any political party and has consistently resisted being categorized along simple ideological lines. Over the decades, her presidential votes have crossed party lines multiple times. In 2024, her endorsement went to Republican candidate Nikki Haley, and she appeared alongside Haley at a rally in New Hampshire, making clear that her political loyalties follow the person rather than the party. There is something genuinely remarkable about Judy Shineland's continued relevance in 2025. Television has changed almost beyond recognition since she first appeared on screens in 1996. The networks that once dominated American culture have been fundamentally disrupted by streaming. The daytime television landscape that Judge Judy ruled for so many years looks nothing like it once did. And yet here is Judy Shineland, at 82 years old, still producing television, still finding audiences, still generating conversation, still being Judy. The fact that she was able to make a successful transition from broadcast television to streaming, not as a nostalgia play, not as a legacy project, but as a genuine ongoing enterprise, is extraordinary. It speaks to the depth of her appeal, the authenticity of her persona, and the sheer force of her personality. In an age of performance and manufactured authenticity, Judy has always been genuinely, uncomplicatedly herself. She doesn't soften her edges for the cameras. She doesn't modulate her opinions based on what focus groups want to hear. She says what she thinks. She means what she says, and she has been doing both of those things consistently for so long that audiences have learned to trust her in a way that goes beyond entertainment. So where is Judge Judy now? She's right where she's always been, in the middle of things, working, building, advocating, and refusing to slow down. She's producing Judy Justice for Amazon Freevee, watching it grow into a streaming success. She's working alongside her son on Tribunal Justice, bringing Petrie Hawkinsburg back into fold. She's running her honor mentoring with her stepdaughter Nicole, changing the lives of young women who need a champion in their corner. She's living between her multiple homes with Jerry, surrounded by 13 grandchildren and 1 great-grandchild. She's speaking her mind on politics, on culture, on justice, the way she always has. Judy Shineland is 82 years old, and she is nowhere near done. That shouldn't surprise anyone. She has spent her entire life doing things on her own schedule, in her own way, by her own standards. She retired from the bench to take over television. She walked away from network television to take on streaming. Every time the world expected her to step back, she stepped forward. That's who Judge Judy is. That's who she has always been. And in 2025, she is living proof that a life built on genuine conviction, relentless work ethic, and an absolute refusal to accept anyone else's definition of your limitations can carry you further than you ever imagined, and keep carrying you long past the point where most people would have stopped.